right, go ahead with your questions, fellas, if you would.
Ben, that's back-to-back dominating performances at home. Do you see any similarities between today's game and the game against Bradley in terms of what you guys got going on?
We had a lot of guys, individual guys, play well in both games. I think that was a big part of it. I think up until the last 4 or 5 games, it's in one game it's 2 or 3 guys, and the next game it was a different 2 or 3 guys, and then we've been able to have a couple games now, and in particular the 2 at home, where we had 5 guys, maybe 6, maybe 7, in both those games that played really well. That obviously helps you. It gives you a chance to, as we did today, gives you a chance to get a lot of points on the board. Then I thought, I thought Drake missed some open threes in the first 10 minutes, and that hurt them. They were playing so good in their last 2 games, and a big part of it was making threes, and they had some open ones in the first 10 minutes, and they didn't make them. And that allowed us to keep it tied, and then we got that lead. They would have had the lead if they had made a couple open threes, and the way they've been playing, I think that would have helped them today. So that was an important part today, too.
Deion's play today really seemed to step up a level from what we've seen him recently.
Yeah, he a week ago against Bradley was the same thing. I think he had 15 or 16 and 7 assists. And today, I don't know what he ended up with, but put together a good game. I think a reason that he's played better is he's in every day and has been now for a couple of weeks, getting extra shots, working on some things that he needs to be working on. And I think that extra time is helping him. I think it's paying off for him. He's a more confident shooter right now. Today making 3 3-point shots, that helps us, and he's capable of making jump shots. So that work that he's put in outside of practice is paying off for him.
Nate Buss had 9 points in 17 minutes today. What made you call his number, and what do you have to say about Nate's performance?
Yeah, our bench needs to be a bigger part of what we're doing, and the only way that they're able to be a bigger part of what we're doing is if I play them, right? I mean, didn't play him much over at Creighton. Didn't play him a whole lot against Bradley. Played him some, but those guys they're good players, and they lack maybe the experience. They do lack experience. They're younger, but the only way for them to improve is to play. And for our team to move to where we want to get before this thing is over, we've got to have those guys. They've got to gain experience. They've got to be on the floor, and they played good today. But we got to keep playing those guys.
So is that a decision you made coming in today that you were going to get Nate Buss in the game a little bit earlier?
Yeah, the bench in particular, and Nate as well. He had some more reps at practice the last couple of days, Carson, and the thing about Austin, he's got so much experience that a lot of times he's going to practice with that scout team, maybe get a couple reps with that top group, but he can practice with the scout team, and he can still be ready and play in a game because he's got enough experience to be able to do both. It's a little harder for Nate or the other guys to flip back and forth. And Nate had some more reps with the guys that were playing in practice. It wasn't something where I sat down and said, "Hey, you're going to play 15 minutes, so be ready." I had a few more reps in practice, but from the overall, I've got to play those guys more.
Got 26 points from Jake and Seth combined, plus 10 rebounds, 6 assists. What does it mean to have 2 quality big men like them, that are able to be on the floor at the same time, or just one at a time?
Well, their versatility allows you to do some different things. You can run some quick hitters with them. They're both mobile enough and pass well enough to do that. You can put those 2 guys in different spots when you're running them. And then there's a lot of things you can do in transition and with the ball screen because those 2 guys are mobile enough and they've got enough versatility that you can do a lot of things with them. And it's helped us our last 2 games with what Jake's gotten done around the block, around the basket, on the block. His play at Creighton down there and his play today, those are points that really help our team.
You held Bradley to 14 in the first half, and then you come back today and you held Drake to 22 in the first half. What's been the difference defensively?
I think part of it is this team is gaining experience, and a lot of that is Bohannon and Buss and even Chip to a point. Max hadn't played a lot; he played a little more today. Those guys, other than Chip, haven't played a lot of games, and so I think from a scouting report standpoint, we're getting closer to where we should be, or we're taking away the things we'd like to. I think that's helped us in both games. And then I see the confidence growing with our guys. We haven't won each of the last 5 games, but we've played pretty good. And I see our confidence growing, and that's a big part of it.
Simons and Hines in particular, 3 of 13. What did you get done against them?
Well, Simons is he's really good, and we all know that. So coming in, you've got to see if we can limit his touches, and Mark's done a good job of that. We wanted to just get a little higher on him, so it was harder to get a single screen and get open. If he was going to get off a couple of screens, provide enough help on the last one so that it was a tougher catch, maybe a little wider on the floor. With the ball screen stuff, we wanted to make sure we had two guys there, so he wasn't going to be able to come off and get a look. But that's hard to do. I mean, you also have to get a little bit lucky. He missed a couple in the first half. I talked about Mason missing a couple, and Simon's missed a couple, and he doesn't miss open shots, and that helps him. I mean, we guarded him pretty good for the night, but he also missed a couple of them.
UNI's two biggest wins ever in Missouri Valley play happened within 8 days.
No.
So how inconsistent this team has been? I mean, what are the chances of that?
I think it's more that, I feel like it's more that we're getting better, Carson, that we are getting closer. And I've used the word inconsistent a lot this year, but I'm starting to get away from it after Bradley, Creighton, and here. And second half of Evansville was just before that, and Illinois State was just before that. So that's 4.5 games out of 5 where we've played pretty good, and 2 of the 5 have been really good with Bradley and today. So I think we're getting closer, and a big part of it is the guys gaining confidence, and I think that's happening.
There were some strong closeouts on defense when they were around the perimeter. Was that kind of a point of interest to kind of run them off 3-point shots and make them kind of shoot from within
Yeah,
three-pointer?
we had to. After the way Drake played against Illinois State and then at home against Evansville, the way they shot the basketball from the 3-point line, we needed to make a real effort to cover a lot of ground and to get to those 3-point shooters. And I thought we had a couple of rotations that we made up more ground than we have maybe in some other games. We got the guys that made it a little harder shot than it might have been.
One more about Jake and Seth. You've had other big men here, Jordan and Adam and Eric Coleman, guys like that. And these guys compared it to some of the other ones that you remember.
They're probably a little bit different. These two guys are more mobile as a pair, probably. Jordan obviously had the overwhelming size, and we don't have that with Jake or Seth. But what they don't have with that kind of size, when you combine the mobility and the versatility of the two of them, it's pretty good. And that's something that, for our team, a little bit different, although Jake's starting to bring it now around the block area. That needs to continue for us, and I think it will. I think he's getting more and more comfortable down there. So we can get more stuff done inside with Seth and Jake than maybe we did the first part of the season.
One more, guys. How much time did you spend preparing for Richard Carter, and what did he do today that maybe surprised you?
He's like the rest of their new guys and young guys, the freshmen and the transfer guys, they've all played better the last 10 days or so, and I think that's normal. First couple conference games are different, and you really saw it in the last 2 games that all of those guys played better after getting a couple conference games under their belt. So we game planned and scouted for him the same way we did the other guys, and tried to take away some stuff. He does a good job of getting to the basket. He's quick to get to the basket, and tonight he also made a couple threes, and that he's hard to guard when he does that.
Thank you, guys. Thanks.